Alright, what's good YouTube? Prince here back with another video. First off, I'm gonna just jump straight to it, bro. Season 2 sucks. Like we all know it. Season 2 it's trash. This is the worst season I've ever seen for any fighting game, period. But I'm not here to just dunk on the season. I'm actually gonna, you know, give some solutions. Actually, not just some solutions. I'm gonna give the perfect solutions for fixing Season 2, alright? Now, I actually think I have the winning formula right here. I think what I'm about to say is absolute perfection. And what I'm saying is, to fix Season 2, all we gotta do is this. Revert everything from back to Season 1, but we keep the only good 2 changes that came from Season 2. What are those only 2 good changes that came from Season 2? I gotta give credit where credit is due. A lot of people like to doom and gloom, but, you know, what I'll do is, if it's worth it, you know, I might say some constructive criticism, but I'm always going to do it in a way where there's actually feedback given to it. There are some good things about Season 2, there is more bad things than others, but there are some good things. The first good thing about Season 2 is the ability to sidestep into the foreground and background, whether you're on player 1 side or player 2 side. I personally don't think player 1 advantage should exist. Player 1 advantage or player 2 advantage should exist in any fighting game whatsoever, especially in a game like Tekken. It's for the longest, Tekken's actually been around for the longest where you couldn't actually, like, if you were put in a crouch position, you could not step, for the life of me, you could not step into the background. You could not do that. That was only possible. If you were, it just wasn't possible, which actually led to certain unfair matchups where you're kind of fighting to be on a particular side because you may be wanting to step in a particular direction against a character's weak side. Like, take Anna for example. Anna is a character that you sidestep to your character's left, but she does have a few strings that you actually want to sidestep to your character's right. One string in particular is up forward 1-3 string. After you block the first 2 hits, you actually want to side block to your character's right to avoid the follow-up and then whip punch, right? So being able to step into the foreground and background, whether you're on player 1 or player 2's side, is an amazing change that I think Namco deserves credit for. The second good change that I would say for this game is the removal of armor defense. That was an amazing change. That I can't thank Namco enough for that. But unfortunately, I'm all out of good stuff to say about this game for Season 2. Those are the only good 2 changes for Season 2. Now, let me tell you how I would fix it. Revert everything back to Season 1. And I got the perfect solution. Stay with me. Let me cook, right? Revert everything back to Season 1. But, and I do mean but, keep the addition of removal of Power Crush heat engagers, and keep the addition to be able to sidestep into the foreground and background, whether you're on player 1 side or player 2 side, right? And for those people saying, like, Prince, they would never revert the game to Season 1 and only keep those 2 changes, what about all the money they spent on the tons of balance, quote-unquote balance changes they've done in the game? And for that answer, I actually have the perfect solution. If you guys are new to my channel, I actually play a multitude of fighting games. I don't just play Tekken. Tekken is the game I mainly stream, but it's not the only fighting game I play. And for those of you that don't know, this might be like maybe an OG type of thing, but for those of you that play Street Fighter 4, Ultra Street Fighter 4, whatever, Ultra Street Fighter 4 actually had a game mode called Omega Mode. Now, in Omega Mode, it was just a for funsies mode. It was just a for fun, casual mode. Because Street Fighter 4 actually did have a lot of content, right? It was a fun, casual mode that you could play online, not in a competitive environment, but you could play online. And pretty much in Omega Mode, all the characters were busted. And I do mean all the characters were busted. Like, I'm talking about, in Omega Mode, Street Fighter 4 characters would do Mugen level combos. They would do links that were never possible in the base game, but they kept it. Capcom had the genius idea to keep it as just a casual mode, alright? It wasn't taken super serious, it was just for fun, right? Like, literally, like, I think, like, the 2 characters had an infinite in Omega Mode. C Viper and Gen literally had an infinite by just, again, all you would do is standing short, standing short, standing short, standing short, standing short, standing short, over and over. And that would actually be an infinite combo and an infinite block string, obviously, right? But Omega Mode was just for casuals, right? So I think what Tekken should do is, since, you know, casuals love extra content, right? What Tekken should do is they should take all the changes they've had in Season 2 and scrap it into Tekken 8 Omega Mode. They don't have to call it Omega Mode. They can actually call it something else, right? I'm just using Omega Mode as like an example. They could call it Tekken 8 Omega Mode if they want to go that route. If they want to go that route, or they can call it, since they have like this heat mechanic, they can call it Tekken Blazing Mode, where it's all the Season 2 changes, and it's kept in a casual mode that you can play online, but doesn't have a ranked environment for it. So people have to actively agree to play that mode, and it's just simply for a casual mode. And then the rest of Tekken ranked player match is just basic Tekken 8 experience. You feel me? That way, this is actually a win-win for both the community and the developers. The developers don't waste their time and their money on creating all these changes that go for waste because they're not being used. Now they actually have an additional game mode where they can use all these changes and keep all these changes, and they have added content, right? Now they have an added content. Now they have an extra mode, like how people were saying, like, you want a team battle mode, you want survival mode, you want all these other modes that Tekken just won't add. Now this is a free mode that they can add. They can add Tekken Blazing Mode, where it has all the Season 2 changes, and you can play it in a casual environment, either online or offline with your friends, and that's that. And the rest of the game stays as it was in Season 1, but with the additional changes of the removal of Power Crush Heat Engagers, and the addition to being able to step into the foreground and background on player 1 and player 2 side. Boom, problem solved, end of the video. That's how I'd fix Tekken 8 Season 2. Now, for the last parts of the video, I gotta say, for anybody that's clicking on this video right now, and you're kinda confused, like maybe you play this game, let's say casually, but like, you're not really affected by the changes of Season 2 or Season 1. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really care one way or another, and you're trying to understand why us veteran players, intermediate players, pro players have such a big issue with this patch. To keep it in layman's terms, this patch pretty much undermines the identity of a plethora, a huge chunk of characters, and it undermines the identity of what Tekken is. For those of you that don't know, people... Like, I play multiple fighting games. I play Skullgirls. I've been playing the Tekken series. I play Guilty Gear Strive. I actually really do enjoy Guilty Gear Strive. I stopped uploading it to the channel because my channel is mostly Tekken, but I still enjoy playing Strive. Skullgirls is a very fun game for me to play. And I love Street Fighter 6, right? I'm gonna get back to Street Fighter 6 probably a lot more now that Tekken 8's gone in this direction. But the thing is, when I play multiple fighting games, like, I play each fighting game for a different reason. The reason I play Street Fighter is different from the reason I would play Tekken. The reason I would play a game like Skullgirls or Marvel vs. Capcom is different. In Skullgirls, there's not really neutral. It's just a combo fiesta with resets, tricky resets, and burst baits all over the place, right? Mix and match with different characters. That's pretty much Skullgirls in a nutshell, where it's pretty much mixed city. Anybody can get mixed. It don't matter if you're Sonic Fox, it don't matter if you're Kill Sage, anybody can get mixed in Skullgirls, alright? Anybody can get mixed in that game, and it's fun. Like, I enjoy it for what it is, because that's what Skullgirls is. The same reason I play Skullgirls is not what I would want in a game like Tekken. I don't want Tekken to turn into... I don't want Tekken to turn into a 50-50 simulator, alright? I don't want that. I want that as far away as possible from Tekken. I want Tekken playing as any type of anime fighting game or Marvel vs. Capcom / Skullgirls game. I don't want that in Tekken. The reason I play Tekken is because Tekken, I've always wanted to play a fighting game where neutral, not only is neutral very important, but defensive measures are very important. This is the most frame-heavy fighting game in existence. Out of all the fighting games I've played, this is the fighting game where frame data and matchup knowledge matters the absolute most, as opposed to my background in 2D fighters. If you didn't know the matchup, to like a character that just came out, but you had solid fundamentals and you had clear understanding of what your character can do when it comes to rushing down, you could technically overwhelm the opponent before they start this stuff, leading to the best defense is a good offense scenario, right? Tekken traditionally is not like that. Even if you are the better player, if you're fighting somebody and you do not know the matchup, and that person is somewhat competent, you're gonna have a very rough time, alright? You're gonna have a very rough time when they start doing strings and you don't know if it's mid-high, or if you can duck this, or if you sidestep left or right this string, or like matchup knowledge right there. Like, Eddie does down forward 1-3, I block the mid, I duck the high, I launch, I punish, GG's, you know what I mean? Stuff like that is very important in Tekken. The more you know about Tekken, and the more you know about matchup knowledge, and the more you're able to execute that, the more you grow and you get to see your improvement in the game drastically go up. And this game is very, if not the only defensive, well, not anymore, but this game used to be the only defensive fighting game that existed, right? Where defense really mattered. We didn't really have, like, Wake Up, EX Shoryuken, and Tekken. We didn't really have comeback mechanics like Street Fighter V, what you call it, V-Trigger. Well, I mean, we do have Rage Arts, you know, that's a thing now. And we do have armor moves, that's also a thing now. But for the most part, Tekken traditionally was like the only fighting game where they used a very extensive, like, move list of real actual martial artists. And they would use the moves and it'd be fluid and it was amazing to look at. And it was a very high defensive level game. And like, for me, the most exciting thing about Tekken, for me, was I remember when I was watching Tekken 6 Crash. Like, this is probably like, I'd watch it as a kid, and I thought it was so cool. I would see, like, Koreans play each other. Even though the quality was horrible back then, I would see Koreans play each other, right? And seeing these amazing matches and defensive maneuvers where they're reading their opponents, they're sidewalking at the perfect time. Like, even watching comebacks was very, like, amazing to see in a game like Tekken. Now, Tekken's kind of been reduced to what did Arslan say. You get knocked down a couple times, you get knocked down once, put into a combo, you got the wall, because everything goes to the wall, everything goes to the wall in this game, right? You got the wall, you get up into Oki, you get hit with the Oki, and you die. And you die. That's pretty much what Tekken is revolving around to, and it's gotten to the point where player expression, skill expression has become damn near null and void. And we're pretty much stuck in this route where a lot of the hard work that you place into this fighting game has pretty much gone out the window. Where now anybody can pretty much beat you or compete on your level. And it's actually funny because as much as the community likes to give Low Tier God grievance and complain about him, that man Low Tier God might have been a prophet. I'm just saying, bro. By the way the Season 2 patch notes have people reacting on Twitter, it's got everybody looking like they're Low Tier God, bro. It's turned the entire community to Low Tier God. So maybe a lot of people are a bit too harsh on Low Tier God because, yeah, like, you see the matchup knowledge right there? Bang did what, down 4-2, duck the second hit, punish, like stuff like that just gives instant dopamine rush. I love moments like that where I'm able to just get a good read on my opponent or react to something and I get a big reward for it, right? And this time I didn't duck because I knew since this person saw I ducked it the first time, they opted for a different string, but I stood walking high this time. But all in short, Tekken is losing its identity. People that have been playing this game for a long time and perfecting stuff like there's a law player named Rip in the USA that is really good at doing instant slides, instant DSS. And Law's pretty much just been neutered. DSS is very easy to do. You do slides very fast now with little to no execution whatsoever. Normally, let me just show you guys an example, right? Let me show you a good example of why I actually really love Tekken. And why I actually really enjoy labbing matchups in this game, right? I'm going to give you one scenario before I close out the video. Because originally this video was supposed to be 12 minutes long, and then the rest of the half is just me ranting. Let me just give you guys a simple, where is it? Let me see. Alright, we're going to use Anna as an example right here, okay? Anna Williams. And we're going to use Lee as an example. Where's Lee? Okay, cool. Alright, bear with me for a second if you're still watching the video. I just need you guys to see something, alright? I also probably could have used Azucena as an example for this next part, but I don't really think it matters per se. Okay, one thing I find really fascinating about Tekken is the counterplay options, right? This is where like the mind games and the high levels aspect comes into play, right? Like obviously all good players are gonna punish or do the most optimal punish when they block something correctly, right? But what if I told you if that's just like the bare bones for being a competent player, right? And the other half is like expanding on that type of knowledge. For instance, Lee has forward 4-3. Now, I actually started playing Tekken Tag 2 as my first entrance to the series. Now, for those of you that don't know, in Lee's forward 4-3, you could actually block the first hit and then sidewalk the second hit right. You can't do it in Tekken 7 or Tekken 8, but you're actually able to do this in Tekken Tag 2. Not many people were doing it, but I was one of the players that was actually doing it because I labbed it and I saw that you could do something like that. And Lee has forward 4-3, and Lee also has this. So he's got high mid, and he's got high, right? Now, you could block the mid and take your turn. So, right, I can just do this. I'm at +8. He's safe, but I can take my turn. And if he does the high, I can guess. But I don't actually have to guess. Certain characters have a punch and a kick parry, which means I can parry both options. So now I don't have to guess. Right? Let's wait for him to do the high. Okay, he's still not doing the high. Let's wait for it. Okay, hold up. Okay, I think he'll do the high after I block the mid, alright? Now he's gonna do the high. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna do the mid. You see that? You see the knowledge right there? I immediately covered two options right there. That, to me, that's quote-unquote, that's pretty much like an option select. That's a defensive countermeasure right there. I don't have to guess between whether Lee's gonna do forward 4-3 or forward 4-1+2. I can just parry the second option anytime I see a move come out right after forward 4 immediately, right? It's little small things like that where the counterplay in this game really shines. Or even example, we could use Azucena as an example right here, right? I'm going to use Azucena's down forward 1-4-1 string as an example of like the counterplay options that make Tekken really fascinating to play. Like Azucena's got this string right here, right? Down forward 1, down forward 1-4-1. Now we're gonna record her doing this, record her doing this, and then we're gonna record her doing this. All right. Now this move has so much counterplay because you could sidestep the last hit. You could sidestep the last hit. Whoops. You can sidestep the last hit like this. Oh my bad. It's better to sidewalk, but you can sidestep it. Right? That's one way. You can do that. And then punish. Or you could just duck the last hit. Right? Or hold up. Wait, does this work? This is gonna be embarrassing if this doesn't work. Okay, maybe this doesn't work. Okay, wait, hold up. Okay, maybe not with Anna, but hold up. Let me try it. That's embarrassing. Edit that out. But let's try. Let's try a character with an actual punch parry. Like there's characters with punch parry reversals, and there's punch parry moves. All right, punch parry moves and punch parry reversals are two different things. All right, let's count the amount of counterplay we have to this move. Right, we have sidestep and punish. We have duck and punish. That's 2. We have punch parry. That's 3. We have high crush. That's 4. You see that right there? We have 4 different ways to deal with just one simple string, right? That's pretty amazing, right? That is why I love this game, right? And I think that's being destroyed. And I already seen where this was going when, for those that play Tekken 7, when Michael Murray tweeted this one tweet out. It said, Uh, in season, I don't know what if it was season 3 or season 4. I don't remember what season exactly, but somewhere in Tekken 7's lifespan, they buffed Mishimas by oh god. They buffed Mishimas by making it that their electrics recover much faster on whiff, which is stupid. To this day, that changes still remain in the game, and I think it needs to go. I think if you whiff, I should be able to whiff punish you, regardless of if you're doing electric or a hop kick or whatever, right? So they buffed Mishimas by making it so that their electric recovers faster, and that hell sweeps would track. And people didn't like that because part of the thing about fighting Kazuya is you could sidewalk Kazuya. Part of the, if hell sweep was unseeable, you couldn't react to hell sweep. It was just either a straight guess or read based on your opponent's patterns and behavior, or sidewalk the character, sidewalk Kazuya. You use movement, so now you don't have to put yourself in a situation where you're forced to guess whether Kazuya is going to do hell sweep, waifu hell sweep, or waifu while standing 2, which is risky, or waifu Fujin Raken, or waifu 443. You could just sidewalk that. Now, part of the reason people wave dash with Mishimas is to realign yourself with your opponent so that you track better. But you always have the option of stepping the hell sweep rather than simply ducking and guessing and blocking for the hell sweep. And they decided to make hell sweeps homing. Now that removed another layer of counterplay, where the only form of counterplay for a hell sweep was just duck. Just duck and guess right. So if Kazuya had frame advantage and you didn't want to disrespect Kazuya's frame advantage and you were committed to blocking, you better just block that hell sweep. And Michael Murray had the genius idea of saying, if you know the hell sweep's coming, why would you step? Just block low. And it's just that type of mindscape, that type of thinking is why this game's gone under the hill, honestly. Because it's the people that are in charge of doing these quote-unquote balance changes. I say balance changes in quotations. The people that are in charge of doing these quote-unquote balance changes have no idea how their game even works. They're unaware of a lot of the counterplay measures. It's like they're unaware of why hell sweep wasn't a homing move in the first place, right? And if you look at all the patch notes for Season 2, they pretty much alienated and destroyed a lot of characters' weaknesses. The devs really thought just because a character can't do everything meant that they need a buff, or meant that there was something wrong with the character. No, characters are supposed to have weaknesses. Good players will make up for the weaknesses in their character, and also good players will also try and exploit the weaknesses of the character they're fighting in that particular matchup. It's just common Tekken 101. Like for instance, Anna Williams. I know this video is getting long. I'm sorry, guys, but Anna has notoriously bad tracking.
Get ready for the next battle.
Like, and I do mean really bad tracking. You can step 80% of Anna's move list to your character's left, and only certain specific moves would only certain moves in this game with Anna would track to her weak side, but it wasn't that much, right? Like, I actually know I did a video. Sorry, I had something. It's just still in my throat. My bad. But no, for those that are watching the video, I actually did a video recently on how to fight against Anna. I'm not gonna go and cover everything, right? But like, for instance, this is Anna's weakness right here. Anna's main weakness is she's a 50-50 casino character that lives or dies by her gambles, and she has poor tracking. She has very poor tracking. Now, obviously, good players are going to make up for this by conditioning their opponent with a lot of homing moves to show them, hey, I know you're trying to step my character, and I don't like that. I don't like you trying to step my character, so I'm going to do a ton of homing moves. I'm going to do a ton of homing moves, right? To condition you to not step me, or to think twice about stepping me, so I can better effectively input my offensive measures, right? So I can be more aggressive and take my frames properly, right? Like we have this right. Oh, hold on, let me turn off counter. It's right. So a classic Anna pressure sequence would look like this, right? I landed the low, down forward 1-2. Down forward 2, if they try and press, blah blah blah, right? And as soon as you, obviously the low is launch punishment, right? But not every character has a 15 frame low from crouch, right? This is Anna's best punishment, right? Anna also has not the greatest punishment, another character weakness, right? So if you got hit by Anna's down forward, if you got hit by this, hold up. Record, wait. Hold on, I'm looking at something. Okay, whatever. If you got hit by down forward 4, you could just sidewalk to your character's left. And then punish. You know what I mean? Like, this was her identity. This was his identity. Developers would see that and think that there's actually a problem with this. When there's not, it's you as the player to make up for your character's weakness. It's not the devs' responsibility to make up for that. You know what a good Ana player would do in this situation? They would do this, right? Record. Wait. They would do this, right? Homing move. Homing move. Homing move. Homing move. Right? So now you as a player gotta be like, oh shit, I just got hit with Anna's down forward 4. Are they gonna take their frames immediately and I can step to her character's weak side? Or are they gonna try and condition me with homing moves? Right? See? I tried to step. But you know what would beat that? You know what beat that? Trying to take your turn back immediately. That's the mind games of Tekken. That's the mind games of Tekken right there, right? If they're not going to take their frames immediately, challenge. Oh, you're not going to take your frames because you think I'm going to step? Boom. Counter. Now it's my turn. You know, that's Tekken in a nutshell. This is where the mind games come in. Like, you're factoring risk and reward immediately at a fast pace during the match. Like, this is what makes Tekken like a fun fighting game to play, because there's interaction right here. There's interaction and nobody's dying immediately in like 2 combos, or like nobody's like plus 17. Like, that's ridiculous. Like by plus 17, are you serious? And I can go into crouch? Like, come on now. Nah, come on now. We can do better than that. We can definitely do better than that as a community, right? So there you go. That's pretty much the end of the video. If you don't know why people are upset, there you go. And if you thought of, and I also gave you guys a constructive way on how to actually fix the game and implement better changes that would make the game better for players. But like I said, being able to sidewalk into the foreground is a great addition. It's the foreground and background, great addition. And getting rid of armored heat engagers was also a good change by Namco, and I applaud them for that. Like, a lot of players, like, shit, like, a lot of, heck, I'll be the first one to say it, as a Nina main, or, well, I'm not really a Nina main, but some people say I am. I play every character, right? I play every character, right? But as a Nina enthusiast, a Nina main, or whatever you guys want to call me, a lot of other Ninas that I see, I destroy them. I body them. And a lot of them were carried by this move right here. A lot of them were carried by this minus 14 frame move right here. Right? They do this, and then they would get into heat, right? Like, pretend this was the power curse, right? They get into heat, and boom, they, you know what I mean? Like, just start going crazy, blah, blah, blah. Like, so many Nina players were carried by this, right? And it's gone. So, you know what I mean? Now, like, people have to, like, you know, you gotta think more. You know, same case in this scenario. She got down back 3. Do I follow up immediately? Will they try and step me? Like, I landed down 2. Like, do I, like, pretend like I couldn't sway cancel, right? I landed this. This is 0 on hit, right? Are they gonna try and step after getting hit with this? Or are they gonna try and jab? If they jab, I can do wall standing 4 on high crush and take my turn. Now I'm plus 7 off that wall standing 4 hitting. You know, this was the mind games. This is what made Tekken interesting. But, you know, enough of that. I ranted on long enough. If you guys are new here and you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. I do stream a lot on Twitch. I'm not really sure how much Tekken I'm going to be streaming on my Twitch. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Follow me on Twitch. Have a good day. God bless.